bring the meeting to order. If you'll please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In our invocation tonight, Mr. Randall Malchow. He's a layperson of the King of Glory Christian Church.
Thank you for this honor. If you'd all bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we come before you and we bow our hearts. Father, that you have been intimately involved in the affairs of men, and that we look to you for guidance. We look to you for discernment. I would pray, Heavenly Father, that as each member of the Board of Aldermen and the Mayor, Father, as we go about the affairs of men, that we look to the example of Nehemiah, that he could not rebuild the wall of Jerusalem without the help of those around him. So I just pray that as we that live in this beautiful town of Black Mountain, Father, that as we stand shoulder to shoulder with the Board of Aldermen and the Mayor and those that tend to their shops here in this town, that we all have one purpose in mind, and that is to make Black Mountain a place that stands out, stands above, and one that honors you. So we just dedicate this time and this meeting to you, and would ask that you lead and guide and give great wisdom to the Board of Aldermen and to the Mayor, that they would follow and trust you in all affairs. In your holy name, amen.
All right. We've got one bit of house cleaning we need to do, and that is, Matt, this resolution.
Yeah, I would just request that you add the, and I hope everybody has this at your place, a resolution to support the Black Mountain Center for the Arts Monarch/Pollinator Program. We'll put that under new business. I think the mayor might have a few words to say about it, but I know we're having a presentation tonight from them, and we did not add a resolution as part of the agenda, but if the board will make a motion to do that, we can add that to the agenda under new business.
I like that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. That'll be discussed under new business. All right, first of all, we'll have citizen comment. Rebecca James, please.
I'm Becky James. I live at 75 Tucker Road in Ridgecrest. I serve on the Greenways Commission for the town of Black Mountain, and I'm also the race director for the Black Mountain Greenway Challenge 5K, 10K road race. That is being held on April 11th. It starts and ends at Pisgah Brewing. And I just want to invite everyone here to either come out and volunteer or run, like someone is going to run, or help us recruit sponsors from local businesses to help us run this event. This is a fundraiser and a friend raiser for the Greenways of Black Mountain. I'm also here to give you my personal experience of the Greenways. I'm actually in training for a half marathon, first time I've ever tried to do that. So I'm spending a lot of time on the Greenways, and they're amazing. I can't believe the number of people, the ages of the people, bikes, kids learn how to ride bikes, strollers, dogs, people walking to work. It really is amazing the scope of people that are using the Greenways. And the other thing that I'm noticing is, you know, we go up and down I-40 and we see the mountains every day. We see them, we see them, we see them. If you get out on the Greenways, you look at them in a completely different way. And I really encourage you to do that, especially in the Community Garden and Riverwalk Greenways. You can get a beautiful view of High Windy, and then you get over on the other side and see all the Seven Sisters. It's really different when you're on the ground and looking up at them. I'm also here to appreciate the work of the Board of Aldermen. Thank you so much for your recent decisions. I can't begin to imagine how hard it is to take what money is available in our town and get it going in the right places to try to serve the people. I know these are really tough decisions, and for me personally, it means a lot. So thank you for your work. Come out and spend time with us on April 11th at the Greenway Challenge, and we'll see you volunteering or running or helping out in some way. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Becky. Marilyn Sabansky.
Marilyn Sabansky, speaking as a resident this time, 516 Laurel Avenue. And I'd like to echo what Becky said, and just to say that, well, the warm weather brought everybody out. And if you were on the greenways this weekend, you really saw them. It was amazing. I couldn't believe the excitement of people just to be out. Well, that was believable, but the number of people who are out, I would happen to be out on the Community and Garden Greenway and in the Oaks, and there by the rec park. And like Becky said, I mean, there were people with strollers and dogs and bikes. The Frisbee golf players, the disc golf, were out in mass. It was amazing. You almost had to watch for them flying over your head. It was something else. And even when you were to go to get across going underneath I-40, you almost had to wait in line to allow people to come from the other direction. I mean, the place was really swarming, and it was exciting. So this is just to say, if you haven't experienced the greenways, please go check them out. And I encourage the board, on a lovely day, go out and see for yourself how much they're being used. And thank you for your work for us to have those. They're a great resource. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. Okay, first on the agenda will be Gail Jackson and a couple ladies for the Center for the Arts. Leba Tracy from North Fork, and she's the first one walking up, and then the next one is Nina Vetito. Vedita. I didn't butcher too bad. So.
Good evening, and thank you for having us here tonight. I'm the director of the Black Mountain Center for the Arts, and about a year ago, one of our board members, Leba Tracy, was inspired to come to us with an idea that was very new to us and very exciting, and it was the beginning of an interesting journey for all of us. She brought to our attention the incredible devastation of the monarch butterflies and how their numbers had decreased so dramatically that there was a real fear we would lose them entirely. The flyway over Black Mountain used to be just like constant during the time that they were migrating. And if you pay attention, you'll see that lately we've been getting one at a time. It's been very, very sad. So Liba's idea was to use the arts to bring awareness to this issue and to help the local community and the wider community see that there are things that could be done. And out of that came a project we called Bring Back the Monarchs. And it grew every time we met, I think, and it basically involved finding a way to let people understand that the only way monarchs can survive is if they have milkweed. And milkweed has been devastated by a lot of the pesticides, particularly Roundup. So they're going to talk a little more about that, but I wanted to tell you that last year we ended up having a very successful event for this issue. And it involved a lot of partnerships. We worked with 3 local schools. We worked with the Rotary Club of Black Mountain and the Rotary District of Western North Carolina, number 7670. We had funding from them and the Lipscomb Foundation and our donors, and a lot of people that got very excited about it. In the end, we served over 250 second graders and other grade school kids. We had Nina in the classrooms. We had Ina Warren, who's also a person who's advocating for the monarchs. And we did public performance art. We did a complete exhibit in our gallery with a focus on monarchs and milkweed, so that everything had to be about that. And that was an incredible exhibit. We're going to repeat that again this year. So last August and September, we pulled all this together, and the culminating event after the kids had a lot of instruction in schools was a monarch migration simulation, which was all of these kids gathering for 3 days at the town square, another partner. They gathered at the square, and you're going to see a video of what happened when they migrated from the town square to the art center. And at times there were kids still leaving the town square as the other end of the line was entering the art center, where they had a program with Nina. So we're going to show you that video. I've given the people up here a picture of one of the pieces of artwork that was a mural painted on our building by Mary Stoyanova and Leba Tracy. This was a postcard that introduced the exhibit, and that's what was put on the side of the building. We're very excited about expanding this project, so I'm just going to let you see what we did last time around, and now the interest has grown and our goals have grown. So we're going to take a look. This is available on YouTube. All you have to do is go to YouTube and look up Bring Back the Monarchs. Thank you so much.
My name is Libba Tracy. I live at 564 North Fork with my husband.
You're going to have to hold on to it, I think.
Okay. All right. This issue got personal when, as a small town event that I dearly loved, watching the monarchs go by one in the past and then discovering that it wasn't happening anymore. After completing the Back to the Monarchs project at the Black Mountain Center for the Arts last September, I wanted to see for myself the wintering sites where the monarchs cluster. I have just returned from an educational tour with Monarch Teachers Network of two of the wintering sites along the western California coast, where the monarchs that live west of the Rockies cluster, Pismo Beach and Pacific Grove, California. Mike Sobel recommended that I return with whatever information I could find on how the towns there, where these sites are, have incorporated the phenomena of the butterflies into the identity of the town. So I did. Pacific Grove, California calls itself Butterfly Town, USA. And by adopting this identity, the town has not only protected the butterflies by creating a sanctuary, but has benefited by the tourism flow that arrives to see it. People come from all over to witness this. The people of Pacific Grove have fully embraced it and have woven the images of monarchs throughout the town by signage and murals, fabricated butterflies made out of metal or wood that different artists have printed and strapped to the telephone poles, and sculpture as well. The children have an annual parade dressed as butterflies that march through the town, celebrating them and raising awareness. I, for one, am interested in bringing these butterflies back to Black Mountain in the way that they used to be. We are a natural flyover area for their 2,500-mile migration journey as they make their way to their wintering site in Mexico. They used to fly in a continuous stream overhead during September-October. The more I learned, the more I realized that the way to accomplish this remarkable sight, to return to our area, is a simple act. Plant their only host plant, milkweed.
All right, I have some information for you all.
Thank you.
Some things in here for you. And I'll just leave these. Good evening. My name is Nina Vedito, and round about the time that Libba had read the article in the New York Times and was so inspired to take action and began her journey with the Black Mountain Center for the Arts, I had just returned from the trip that Libba just took, and the population numbers for the monarchs had just come out. I've been a monarch-aholic for a while, but when those numbers came out last year and were so devastating, I decided I couldn't just not do anything. So I formed an organization, a nonprofit organization called Monarch Rescue. I live in Asheville, by the way, and Monarch Rescue is a locally focused nonprofit that is centered around creating habitat for monarchs and educating the public about the plight of the monarchs. So Libba and I teamed up at one point, and Gail was involved as well, and because a big part of the organization's focus is education, we crafted an educational part there that you saw at the end of the migration. In the meantime, I went in with several volunteers to the local schools, and we raised monarchs in the classroom. We tagged them with the children, released them, which is a real citizen science activity. It really helps real scientists out in the field, so the kids were involved in some neat activities in that regard. And so it was a wonderful, wonderful project from an educational standpoint as well as a conservation standpoint. Next year, I'd love to work with the town of Black Mountain again. I'm currently composing a grant proposal for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service that will bring in funds to plant milkweed here in Black Mountain and work with school children again. The plantings can be in any number of places. Along the greenways would be a wonderful spot, as well as other places as well that may not be as public. But the funds will help purchase milkweed for those plantings, as well as provide educational signage and educational programs. So, so I wanted to be here tonight to encourage you all to vote in favor of the resolution to get more milkweed planted here in Black Mountain. So thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it. Very good presentation. Very good slideshow there, Libba. Did a good job. Thank you very much.
Maybe I missed something, but is the migration countywide? I mean, how broad a path is it that we're looking at?
The whole corridor, right?
Yep.
And they come down from the Blue Ridge Parkway. They come down through the valley. So we are part of the flyover zone. There are many flyover zones, but this is one that traditionally has been a very strong one.
One of the strongest in the county? Strongest in
the county for sure, yeah.
Libba has stories of, is it a lady here in Black Mountain
who I'm wanting to talk to the elders in the region, in Black Mountain, who have stories of way back when. One of them have yet to meet, but I've heard that her experience as a younger person was that they would just come down the corridor of State Street. It was just a parade of coming down State Street. And in my experience, not too many years ago, really just a handful of years ago, I could sit on my porch and just watch one come, and as soon as one went over my head, there'd be another one coming. And it has just collapsed.
Okay, thank you.
Much of that also has to do with the air, the winds. They use a lot of the currents to fly, so I think that's why
The higher mountains.
And then they get a ridgecrest and it drops down, and then they can take that glide pattern. Good enough. Thank you very much, ladies. Next on the agenda, Town of Black Mountain Library Board, Robert Woodard.
I'm Robert Woodward. It's good to be here. I want to say, first of all, thanks to the town for the support of the Tyson Library. We very much appreciate it. And, even though I'm on the board, even though I'm the chairman of the board, it's still a resource that I make use of a whole lot with my kids. It was essential to my children growing up. The library board serves primarily in a custodial role for the town, as most of you know, overlooking the physical property and the facilities. So it's almost a mundane work that we do. We pay utility bills, we look after the proper function of the heating and air conditioning, and thankfully that's really what we've done the last year. We don't have any large exciting things to tell you, which you might be pleased with. I hope that's the case. The years previous, we had the big renovations. The town put in a lot of money, and we had a lot of, I don't want to say turmoil, it was exciting turmoil with that remodel. But this year, the previous year has been very uneventful. We've installed some new exterior lighting, or at least updated what we had. We've done some major work in terms of maintenance on the heating and AC. We've got good, steady circulation, as we always have. We are one of the busiest libraries in the system. We've made increased use of our educational facilities, the education room. But to be honest with you, that's about it. We're just trying to hold steady, maintain what we've got, and carry on. So that's it. Once again, thank you to the town for all the support you guys have given to the board.
Robert, what is your budget like for a year to keep run the building and do what you do?
You know, I'm not sure. I'd say it's probably around the 15,000, Ron.
That varies.
We don't have a major AC breakdown.
We will tend to have years where the monthly bills are $300 or $400, and then we'll have those years when you replace a $13,000, $14,000 heating and air unit. So it's hard to say what if you try to annualize that what it'd be on an average. We're getting a little bit of a reprieve after the remodel of the library. With everything renovated, we've had some painting and little touch-up things to do, but we got a break to save some money for the big things after the remodeling job.
Sure, and for instance, I don't want to forget to mention that the Friends of the Library this year have donated a video system to monitor the premises. I think it's going to be monitored at PAC. That has not been installed yet. But so, you know, whatever shortfalls come up, various times Friends will take care of additional needs. But we're overseeing the physical facility, nothing to do with the staff and so forth.
Yeah, and the Friends have a little capital reserve if you need it, so to speak.
That's it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the time and effort that you donate.
Oh, it's a joy.
All right, police report. Chief Steve Paget.
I'm not really sure about this mic here, but this is the annual police report. It's calendar year 2014, so all the stats are through 2014. Our calls for service for 2014 was 21,179. That's up 4% from 2013. However, it's still down a little bit from 2012. On the next slide, you'll see the 2014 is in red and the 2013 is in blue. This just gives you a comparison between the two. We had 273 incidents as criminal incident reports, 881 citation charges, 384 total arrests, 613 total charges, 183 traffic accidents, which was up. We'll go into a little more detail in that. And 155 drug violations, which also were up a little bit. We'll go more in detail on that one also. And then you have the DWIs are actually cut in half, a little less than half. There was only 18 for 2014, so that's a good indication. On the next slide, you'll see where the traffic accidents being up some. If you'll notice, in 2014 we had a 167 PD. That's on the bottom. PD would be property damage. That's a low speed type collisions, what we call property damage. So actually the picture on the left would be a lower speed type collision, parking lots and such. Those were actually up in 2014 versus 2013. And then we had 16 PI, which if you'll look at the red car, that's something that where speeds are increased, the collisions that would cause personal injury, that's what the PI. And if you'll look, we've actually reduced those from 37 in 2013 to 16 in 2014, so that's huge in reducing that, so the speeding's not an issue. On our next slide, we have our the drug violations. In 2014, we had 155, which is up, but 120 of those were misdemeanors and 29 felony. We'd made several felony drug arrests with possession with the intent to manufacture, sell, and deliver. That was in a marijuana grow operation. On the next slide, you'll see also that these drugs that we've seized over the 2014 range from marijuana, heroin, psychedelic mushrooms, prescription medications. We also see some handguns and money from those arrests. If you'll notice, that's a little different than just marijuana. If you'll notice on the top right, that's the mushrooms. And then on the bottom left is the heroin, which is called black tar. It's got a black tar consistency. We're seeing more of that even actually in the surrounding areas too. For whatever reason, it is increasing. It's becoming the drug of choice. On our next slide, you'll see that's just a comparison from the last 3 years. 2012 in the green, 2013 in the blue, and 2014 in the red. So there's no real spikes in anything. Obviously 2012 was the busiest year of the 13 or 14. On our next slide, the police department continues to build upon our youth relations in our schools. Officers walk through the schools and have lunch with the children. We also provide police tours and interact by reading to the primary students. So Officer Buster Gray, which is our downtown officer, and he also interacts in the schools or reading to the children. And the top picture is a career day. Another thing, we partner with the fire department and opening up car doors and trying to reduce speed, especially in the beginning of the year. This is something that the fire department and police department together do, and the kids, of course, they get a pretty good kick out of it. On their next slide, the Walk to Schools and Safety Saturday are a couple other events that promote community and youth relations. We had several agencies at the Safety Saturday, and that's something that the fire department, police department also work together on. Kids really like our K9, and we done some demonstrations. And of course, the Walk to School is always a big hit. And then the Governor's Highway Safety Program, this is something that we done just a little different this year, but officers handed out brochures on vehicle safety restraints. This is an initiative through the Governor's Highway Safety Program and Kids Safe USA. This is just information trying to give to parents to make sure that we're buckling up, make sure the children are in the proper safety restraints. We also offer those services at the police department if somebody needs assistance in putting or installing their child safety seat. The next slide, we also continue to participate in Operation Medicine Drop. This provides a safe way for people to dispose of unwanted or expired prescription medication, and it also aids in help preventing accidental poisonings and also protecting the environment. We've been doing that on an annual basis. Sometimes that information comes out, and we try to get that information out as fast as we can so people will have a place. The Sheriff's Office has a place open Monday through Friday during regular hours if you want to drop it off, or you can wait for our Operation Medicine Drop to drop any medication off. The next would be the Enough program, and that's it kicked off in 2014 also. It's an effort to reduce domestic violence. We were able to team up with Buncombe County, Asheville, and other surrounding agencies to hopefully reduce domestic violence. And our next would be Sergeant Ayers and Officer Denton received their advanced law enforcement certifications from the state. That certification is based upon training and education. It's also the highest law enforcement certification you can obtain in North Carolina. Over half of our department has those, which we're proud of. And our training hours for the year was 1,830 hours training. Next is our police reserves. Our reserves put in 1,869 hours, which was a cost savings of 29,530 if we had to pay someone to perform those duties. And each year we have numerous events and a lot more 5Ks, a lot of events in town that they help us with. And the next one is a couple new officers. One is Amber Summerow, which is a reserve. She's to the left, and Jeff Davis, which we hired full-time. So we think that both of these officers are going to be a great addition to the town, and we look forward to 2015, hopefully being a little quieter. Any questions?
I just had one here, just back on there with the end of the police drug report. When you say the felonies and stuff, but meth labs, what can you say about meth labs? Have we been fortunate not to have them, or very few?
We've only had probably, we've had two over the last 12 years. Typically, they're more in rural areas due to the smell, and a lot of those labs have gotten away from cooking labs. Now they're doing what they call a shake and bake, and that's actually a mobile lab that they're doing. They found out that they can do the shake and bakes. So a lot of labs has been reduced, especially in our area. We never had a whole lot of those. I think some down east, some counties down east had a lot more than what we've had in more rural areas.
Well, I really like the program. Well, y'all do a great job. I especially like the program with the youth, so that you're in the schools, reading with them, being around them, eating lunch with them, as you say, so that they can see you as someone that they can turn to instead of turning away from.
We continue. I give all the credit to the officers and supervisors at the police department. That's something that we try to build on each year. So I think it's a good thing, and I think that's our future. So we need to invest in it. Any other questions?
Good job. Thank you. Thank you. Next, Chief Steve Jones, Fire Department.
Two Steves. Now, Mayor, the numbers that you're getting ready to hear tonight are different from the numbers you heard at my banquet because they're taken two different ways. So you being the numbers person that you are, I know you're going to see these and take. I got my pen ready. So they're different. And mine is for 6 months, not the whole year. So we had 592 calls in the city, 282 calls in the district for 874 total calls for the last 6 months. That's down about 15%, but we expect that because it's the winter time. Most of the tourists are gone. So that number will jump back up and it'll be just as high in a year as it was last year. And then we averaged 55 times a month going out on multiple calls at the same time. And then we spent 12,567 and a half hours on calls. We had a little over $3 million exposed to fire in the city and a loss of 109,000, and then 300,000 exposed in the district with a loss of 500. So that's still within our goal of 10%. We did 458 business inspections with 2 residential inspections. And then we had 625 public education events. That's due because October is Fire Prevention Week. We have our open house. We go out in the schools all week. So that number is always high for this report for that reason. And we have a very good program that we started going out to the schools. And Casey was very kind enough to let us borrow one of his bounce houses. And that was a great big hit. We had 3,100 hours of training. The picture on the left is a building in Ridgecrest that's no longer there. They allowed us to come in and do some building search training for a couple of nights, and we appreciate that. And then the house on the right is a house that we burnt for, I guess they're calling it Gibbons Highland Farms recently. So we used all that for training. Then, of course, we had 186 hours of extra duty. People just coming in and helping out, clean up around the station. And when I think of extra duty, I think of Charlie Arnett, so that picture will always be there as long as I'm the chief. The next chief can take it out of the slide. I just can't do that. So, a couple pictures, open house, fire trucks rides are always a big hit. And then, like I said, we were able to set the bounce house up inside the fire station. That's more of an obstacle course, not a bouncy house, but it's still either way. The children loved it, and that was a big hit as well as riding on the fire trucks. This is an actual wreck that we worked at on North Fork Road. The police department and the fire department both worked this. It was a very big scene. We had the road shut down for a while, and this is just some of our guys at work. There's the front of the vehicle. So it was tore up pretty good. Then we helped the golf course out. We went out and watered the greens when I believe the pump was down one day, and we took the little tanker and went around and started watering greens. And the guys got a big kick out of getting out of the house and driving on the cart path with the fire truck. This is the house that I showed you earlier that we burned. This is a controlled burn. We used this house, the state came in and did some testing for live burn instructors, and we got one of our Lieutenant Bobby Davis went through the training, and he is now a state certified live burn instructor. He can hold this class and do this work and teach our guys how to do it. This is another live burn we did in Ridgecrest at the girls' camp. They're making some pretty big renovations, and they gave us a building to do some training with as well. We went in and done some all kinds of training, then we burned it down at the after the training was over, and that's what it burned up to be. So those things burned up quite well. And then last, if we can get this to work, I'll show you what some of our money we spent on this last 6 months went to. Anyway, it was going to show you a picture of our new roof we got on the fire department on the truck bay area. We used to check blood pressures and gave you a shower all at the same time when you sit on the bench, so we no longer give showers because we got a new roof and it doesn't leak anymore. So we still check blood pressure, so if you want to come out and get your blood pressure checked, come by the fire department. We're glad to do that. I had a really a good video of that. One of my volunteers has a drone, and he took a picture of the drone going up. It goes up about 300 feet and shows a picture of the whole building, and it shows a picture of the park and the town. So sorry it didn't get to work, but it was really cool. If you want to see it, come by my office. I'll show it to you. Any questions?
Thank you, Steve. Anybody got a question?
Hey, Chief, is there, I think I took it, do you guys recycle, this is recycling information, but can you drop off fluorescent bulbs? So
If you're a resident, you can. We don't take any business, just residents.
Is that the only thing that you drop off there?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I want to commend you guys on your open house. It's incredible how many kids and folks, I mean, the place was wall to wall packed everywhere. And you do a tremendous job with that, you guys, the whole fire department. It's a big draw for the town, and it's something else.
All that goes to my staff and their, I'm going to say their better halves. I'm not going to say wives or spouse, whatever. They're partners. They do all the food and stuff, so that all goes to them. I don't have to worry about it.
It's a good gig for the rest of the town who haven't been to it. You need to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our communications. Now, consent agenda.
Yes, sir. You've got your adoption of minutes from your agenda workshop and your regular session in January. You've got a resolution in support of the North Carolina Historic Preservation Tax Credit Program. As I mentioned last week, we don't have any. All the cities in the state are making an effort to pass this resolution in support of this. The General Assembly is looking at eliminating the program. The governor is actually in favor of the program. We don't have any buildings that currently qualify or have taken advantage of the tax credit program, but we do have potential properties that could use it, and we'd like to support any kind of tax credit program that we can. You've got a budget amendment for $8,000. This is our match for the bike plan that we received a grant for from the DOT. It's a $40,000 grant. Our portion is $8,000. We should have that completed sometime in the fall. You have a budget amendment in the amount of $14,000 to make some improvements to the police communication system. That actually comes out of the distribution from the ABC board. They have a little bit of a fund balance for that, and so it doesn't actually impact taxes or the fund balance of the general fund. It comes from money that is restricted specifically for police department use, and we would like to make some improvements with the communication system there. You have 3 calls for public hearing. You've got a call for public hearing to rezone the property on Tabernacle Road that we recently annexed for Gibbons Highland Farms and designate that as OI6. Then you have a call for public hearing to create a text amendment to actually establish a use for congregate care facilities and nursing homes. We don't have that in our system. and we need to have that as a definition. And then finally, you'll have a public hearing to add the congregate care facilities and nursing care institutions as a conditional use in that district. So basically all three of those public hearings are related to the annexation for Highland Farms. That's what they're for. And that is your consent agenda tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Do I hear a motion?
So,
Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. We don't have any citizens' comment. Under new business now will be the resolution that you have at your place, and I will read it. It's a resolution to support the Black Mountain Center for the Arts Monarch/Pollinator Program. Whereas the Black Mountain Center for the Arts is seeking the endorsement for the Monarch Pollinator Program, which promotes education concerning butterflies and the planting of butterfly host and nectar plants. And whereas the Center for the Arts is not asking for money from the town, but rather its use of open space around its ball fields, roadways, and other public properties throughout the town where volunteers can plant milkweed as well as other blooming flowers. And whereas no area will be planted without authorization of the town, now therefore be it resolved by the board of the town of Black Mountain to endorse and support the Black Mountain Center for the Arts Monarch Pollinator Program. Do I hear a motion?
so moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. I think this is a wonderful program. I think this is just incredible that we can go ahead. Matt has already gone ahead and been working with the beautification committee and planting the back side of the dam, which he may get to a little bit later and explain something about that. But I think that this not only has benefits for educating the kids, it has benefits for the town community to get together. I've already spoken with the business manager down at the neurological center. That is about a 25-acre facility down there. And Jack St. Clair is excited to use his greenhouses to grow milkweed, to go ahead and get the seed, as well as go ahead and take seed and make the rhizomes, use his crews to plant. I spoke with Jason Cower. He is the head of the Presbyterian Home off of Lake Eden Road. And he also is excited to use their 12 to 15 acre facility there to help promote this and help educate the kids and use the kids in planting this. So there's going to be others, groups that we haven't contacted yet, but one of the main reasons to have brought this here was because this would aid the Gale and them as they apply for these grants to have the endorsements. So I thank the board for stepping forward and doing this. No unfinished business. Communication from staff. Mr. Sneed.
I forget what happened, and I don't know if this was before the last board meeting, but on the settings case, the bond matter that we'd had won both at trial and at the Court of Appeals, the bond companies have in fact petitioned the Supreme Court to ask if they will hear this case. That's a two-step process. First, they decide whether they'll hear it. They could reject it, and we're done. If they decide to hear it, then at another date later down the line, it's set for oral arguments. But at the moment, we're just waiting to see if they decide to hear it again.
Matt? Just two quick things. As you've mentioned, you may have gotten a call or 27 about the Lake Tomahawk Dam. The trees have been cut down there. They were that was worked on last week. I was there this weekend. It was a beautiful weekend, and there were a lot of people walking out there. There's still a lot of work to be done. We are going to have, by the end of the week, we'll put up signs on either end of the dam, kind of giving a brief synopsis of what we've said over and over the last year, which is this is a requirement of the state. And for dam safety, and these trees have to come down for that reason. And also, we will put just a small blurb on the sign saying that the end goal is to have, obviously, it planted with grass and wildflowers and pollinators and milkweed in an attempt to make this still a beautiful area for Lake Tomahawk, but different than it is now. And I know that if you get calls or you get concerns, please let people know that this is the beginning of the process and not the end of the process out there. And we're probably still a couple of months away from having that done. And the other thing that I would mention to you is that the board of the Shenandoah Valley Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Corporation has extended an invitation to everybody for their prayer breakfast, which is on Saturday, February 28th at Camp Dorothy Walls at 8 o'clock a.m. Their speaker this year will be Tyrone Greenlee. He's a community activist and a graduate of the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, so I think he probably is a really great speaker. And I would just remind you that tickets to the breakfast and the program are $15 and are available from the Black Mountain Chamber of Commerce. So if anyone is interested, we generally make a pretty good showing there, so I would encourage everyone to take advantage of that. And that's all that I have, Mr. Mayor.
Do we have any of, because we gotta have a closed session here in a minute, but
Yes.
I'll give the opportunity to the Board of Aldermen if they have something special they want to say. I will take this time to say something special to the manager, Mr. Matt Settlemyer, and if he could please move quickly to resolve the issue with the speaker.
I will put a giant stick under that speaker and I will solve that problem for tomorrow.
Very good. Do we hear a motion to go to closed session? So moved. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We will go into closed session.